than most. The ships were not this close together, but if you look at the ships and you see the sailors on the decks, it puts them in a more accurate perspective. And the artists, Sully and Carney actually went to Erie and sketched the ships. They also discussed the battle with Oliver Hazard Perry, and he put his stamp of approval on these two prints. So you have sort of a before and after, and probably as good as it gets. If you look at the Tanner print, for example, you know, even the Currier and Ives print bears no resemblance to the Battle of Lake Erie. This at least bears some. You get the idea that the ships are quite small. You can see the gunboats with the men on the deck, which gives you a real perspective. And of course, the Lawrence to the right was actually surrendered. So the flags don't give up the ship, they gave up the ship. Mm-hmm. But then they captured the British, and the British weren't able to.
Did you get out to the islands during the...
I was there for the reenactment, yes.
Oh, good, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I was there for the dedication of the longboat.
Yeah, everybody had a don't give up the ship sign.
Oh, yeah. I wish the flags would be more accurate in their depiction of the flag. It's sort of neatened up. You know, the color of the flag was actually extremely dark brown. It was not blue.
Oh, it was?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
That blue was a later addition. These are just some of the weapons in my collection. The standard musket, a naval cutlass, and various swords. The interesting thing about these swords is that they really were not used for fighting. Now, this cutlass was. But the rest of these swords were carried by officers and were more a symbol of rank than anything else. Mm-hmm. If you look at the one sword right here, the Star Horseman saber, which is very crude, American-made, now that is actually a utilitarian sword used for combat. If you look at this beautiful sword on the French pattern here, this was carried by an officer to show that he was an officer. I mean, the chance of him ever using something like that was very slim.
The scabbard is beautiful too.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I like the scabbard on this one. It has a beautiful American eagle carved in it, and
nice.
This here, I met two very interesting people when, in working on the exhibit. One was John Hebler, who did the sketch of Fort Stevenson, and we asked him to borrow it for the exhibit. And I had this model of the Niagara, but I had no idea of how to put it together. And if you look at it, you can see my word. And I met a man named John Robinault from Tiffin, Ohio, who built models, and I asked him if he would consider building it, and after much thought he said he would. And as you can see, he is a master craftsman. He did, I mean, if you look at...
Yeah, it looks like I've been on the Niagara.
I mean, but if you look at the detail and the paint, look at the deck, look at the, everything about it is perfect, mm-hmm. Even the boats. I mean, I am in awe of his craftsmanship, mm-hmm. And appreciate.
And the colors are similar to the colors, yes, nowadays.
Yeah, the red that you see there was often used because during a battle with blood, you know, it would they would cover the deck with sand, but the red, was appropriate. But yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful model. The cannonball over there, that is the size cannonball that was fired by the Lawrence and the Niagara from their 32-pound carronades. Looks like a bowling ball, doesn't it? Whoops. That's just a treasure, I think. I mean, how can... I could no more put that together than Fly to the Moon.
Right, and then also, so it had to be put together in a real size too, so yep. That's kind of exciting. How much is this cannonball? 13 pounds?
It's
32 pounds. Yeah, 32
yeah,
pounds.
32 pounds. Yeah. Look at the size of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, a lot of people were seriously injured or because of splinters more than they were from being shot. These are just different little drawings of little watercolors of miniatures of Oliver Hazard Perry that I picked up over the years.
Good. Your house must be a museum.
Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, there's no way to display all this. Yeah, the decorative arts of the 1820s and 30s, you just see the War of 1812 themes on mirrors and clocks, and you know, these people were glorified. Here we have, of course, the classic print of Perry and the Longbow. This is by William Henry Powell. It hangs in the Ohio State House. It was completed in 1865 at a cost to the state of $10,000. And then it was so popular that they commissioned him to do one for the stairwell of the U.S. Senate. And although it bears little resemblance to what happened that day, it is the iconic image of the War of 1812.
Right, it is.
I mean, if we think of World War II and we think of the sailor in Times Square kissing the girl, or the Mount Suribachi and Iwo Jima, there's just a few images that just jump out, and this is the one. This is the early version by Birch, which I like better. That's of the period, and again, all these prints would have been, you know, printed in the 1820s and widely distributed. The interesting thing, by the way, about the Powell print is, if you look, it does show, and then here we have two oils that illustrate a very, very important point, and that is that in the Battle of Lake Erie, about 15% of the sailors were African American. And so if we look at these portraits, look, for example, to the right next to the mast, and you'll see that African Americans are depicted, and also in the Powell portrait you see a number of African Americans. And so these African American sailors distinguished themselves. They were not listed by race, so it's often hard to put a name on them. And afterwards, many were involved in commerce on the Great Lakes, and were somewhat involved in the Underground Railway. And of course, this would be the Battle of Lake Erie and then the surrender of the British officers. In the 19th century, very often people would clip signatures. So if we look at this clip signature, it has this cryptic comment, and was with me at the capture of Proctor's army. And of course, wouldn't you just love to know what the letter stated? It's written by Oliver Hazard Perry. Well, a few years ago, I bought the papers of Thomas Breeze, who was the chaplain in the Battle of Lake Erie and was served on the Lawrence. And in his papers was a copy of the whole text.
Oh, that was
so 197 years later. This is a copy by Forrest LaPlante, a Toledo artist, of the Gilbert Stuart portrait of Oliver Hazard Perry. I don't know just how accurate it is. I've told people I think what this portrait clearly shows is that Elvis Presley was an Oliver Hazard Perry impersonator.
Right, kind of, yeah.
This is a letter announcing the death of Oliver Hazard Perry to the fleet. And the captain at Portsmouth was Charles Morris, a friend of Perry's and a very famous War of 1812 commander. Beautiful penmanship. This is a series in Courier and Ives that illustrated the naval commanders. The U.S. took great pride in the victories by people like Porter and Bainbridge and Stephen Decatur. Of course, James Lawrence early, and then was killed in the Battle of the Shannon and the Chesapeake.